Hello, Canucks fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Canucks Conversation, brought to you by the great folks at Montana's. And folks, use folks twice there. You're not supposed to do that when you write. You know that. Montana's. We have some stuff to say about Montana's. Launching today, we're telling you today, January 17th, this beautiful Tuesday afternoon, Montana's comfort menu officially launches, and it is time to get excited about the tasty comfort food that you can have over at Montana's while you're hanging out with your family, your friends, and you are, as we've said, watching the game. Montana's bringing back the viewing party. Enjoy the limited time comfort menu and a Molson Canadian, and you could win a trip to the NHL Awards in Nashville or a Molson branded NHL fridge. We've talked about the daily deals before. You've heard them all. New ones. Monday is half price wings. And if you're Faber, you crush 30 of those as a base. Tuesday, Taco Tuesday.
Not Montana's, only 20.
$5 tacos with the purchase of any beverage. That is all day long. Wednesday, it's all you can eat ribs. And Thursday and every day.
Look how much stuff they got in that taco.
There is a lot of stuff. That's a big taco.
I was going to say.
That is a meaty taco.
If I'm being honest, when I heard $5 tacos, listen, I used to go to Montana's for all you can eat tacos back in the day. When I heard $5 tacos, I said, man, inflation's really good. Look at the size. Alex, can I get a zoom in on that taco? Look at the size of that thing. What are you doing with, it even has like a good comparison with the size of a lime. What's that? Nine slices of lime pretty much for size for people on the
get back on track here.
The size of that Tuesday taco is massive. These aren't like I'm going for 2 tacos type of deal. This is a $5 taco here. Holy jumping.
Drink deals and specials Thursday and every day. But we want to talk about Tuesday. Taco Tuesday. You've talked about it more than enough. $5 tacos, as my co-host put it, meaty tacos.
Are you a Taco Tuesday type of guy? I know a lot of people always have tacos.
I like tacos.
But so I have tacos once a week. We do the Korean barbecue Old El Paso kit, which is hard to find actually. Now I tell you, it's not as hard to it used to be very readily available. Now they're pushing the Caribbean jerk taco kit on you big time.
Okay. There was once a time,
but I like the Korean one. We do it once a week here in this house.
There was once a time in my life when if you asked me what my favorite food was, I would tell you it was tacos.
Well, I bet that went well with the Italian family.
Well, yeah.
You ever had spaghetti in a taco? That's a thing.
Yeah, for my Carly.
Oh yeah, sorry about that down there.
That's okay. I had to kick your bag out of the way.
Well, everything I don't get anything around.
Did you watch iCarly?
No, never watched that show.
Spaghetti tacos was a thing from iCarly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was something that was from iCarly. That wasn't like a thing before iCarly. Not that I know of, at least.
I mean, if you're broke, like I feel like when I was broke when I was 18, well, I'm still broke, but when I was 18 and broke, I was eating spaghetti and everything. I'd have it in tacos. I'd recook it up, put it, rolled in little balls and bake it. Spaghetti balls.
I thought the writers at iCarly created those.
Well, maybe because I'm assuming our iCarly was before my time, because it would have been like when
you would have been about 18. I was like 11.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I always forget that how our age difference is so much. I feel like our Family Channel shows were very different.
Yeah, it's like I say classic rock, and I'm talking about songs from 2013.
You're talking about Good Charlotte. Yeah. There's that damn thing again.
It's your computer all the time. I turned it down, but now we can't hear Alex. We got to turn it back up.
Okay.
Anyways,
I got notifications off here.
Enough here. I didn't even say, my name is David Quadrelli. Yep. I'm joined, as always, by the man who built the place, doing his best impression of The Rock in 90s. And for folks on the podcast, he's wearing a turtleneck and a chain. Chris Faber, our technical producer, is Alex Allard. This is the Canucks Conversation podcast, and we are here to talk about, once again,
energy drinks. I am drinking I went down to the States on the weekend. Come on, camera. You know how much I paid for this camera and it can't get the goddamn auto thing on here? What's going on here?
I'm gonna back it up.
I am backing it up. Rain Inferno, Watermelon Warlord. What's up with energy drink flavors and the names of them? Sounds like you're going to war with every single one. It's called, you can't see it on the camera. Watermelon Warlord. I went down the States and handpicked this one out myself.
You look so in your element. Recently got your passport. So in your element down in
a photo
the States.
of it, yeah.
I got some photos from your fiance about you at, well, I think there's one she sent me. You were at Trader Joe's. I'm not sure.
We did. So I went down on Saturday, took the whole weekend away from Twitter, which was awesome. It was really good. I couldn't imagine. It was actually way better than I thought, just not being on social media for the weekend. And Saturday included us waking up I didn't talk about this on Monday. We had too much going on yesterday. But on the weekend, Saturday, we went down just to Bellingham, only about a little drive down there. We went down there, picked up, went to Fred Meyer, went to Walmart, went to Trader Joe's. So we went to those 3 spots. I thought Trader Joe's was like a supermarket. It's more like a market, it feels like, but it's all just, I didn't know it was just Trader Joe's
branded stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought it was a little bit of everything. And then
it's pretty sick.
It hit me when I got back here because I'm like, and this will get you one day, Quads. You'll feel old, but we bought this pasta that I think is very cool. It's like a cool shape. It's thick. I'll show you it after. I can run and grab it now if you want, but then you can see that my upper body dressed extremely well. My lower body, not so much. But the pasta, I put it in there. I'm sitting there and I'm going and I'm sitting back and I'm looking at my what do you call that? The pantry. I'm looking at my pantry and I'm thinking, man, I'm excited to eat that cool pasta. And then I stopped for a second. I said, I'm also getting freaking old because my excitement level used to be about going out, having a good time. Now I'm excited about the cool looking pasta that's in the fridge. So
yeah, I don't think that's not good. Unless I'm also getting old because I get excited about that stuff.
Yeah, but you're Italian. You've been excited about pasta since you came out of the womb.
But just other things. I get excited about like a good vacuum cleaner.
Yeah. Or the stuff that you get cooked. Your significant other over there. What?
Sorry, just continue. The way you said it was really funny.
She is a hell of a cook. You bring the other day what'd you bring over here? Then you left it in the fridge because apparently now
it's still in your fridge. It's my lunch for the next 3 days.
You have your own desk in my house. You have your own charger here that you've stolen from my fiance. Now you have a spot in the fridge, but you the stuff you had yesterday it smelled like I don't think you microwaved it yesterday, but today you did. It smelled up the whole apartment. That was nice. It was spinach and Parmesan rice.
So
that was
spinach Parmesan rice.
Good
really
stuff
really
there.
good. I've literally had it. I'm gonna have it 3 days in a row.
And there
lunch.
she is right there in the chat. Says he was supposed to bring you a cookie yesterday. I guess
so she got a cast iron pan.
I was wondering where those crumbs from your shirt yesterday were coming from.
She got a cast iron pan for my brother for Christmas, and she made this cookie pie in it, and she's done it twice now, and it's like so good. You have it with a little ice cream. I was supposed to bring you some yesterday. I forgot to bring it for you, and then I got home, saw it on the counter, and just ate the whole thing.
Oh, tough. And so Madeline asked in the chat, I think it's Madeline, right? I'm not good
Madeline.
Madeline?
Go, continue.
You're out of line, but what's your favorite thing from Trader Joe's? This is something that I've asked my fiance to get me when she would go down before I had a passport. And I finally got it this time. She says it's been out of stock every time. I don't know if I buy that, but it was there the first time I went down. It's mandarin orange chicken. So like orange chicken, but mandarin orange chicken. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm excited for it.
Let me know.
Other than that, we like the spices. Like the everything but the elote is good. And the last when we went down, we got everything but the ketchup. It's like a ketchup seasoning. So I was thinking, what would you put that on? Potatoes, right?
I guess
potatoes would be a good thing for it. Anywho,
there's a John Garrett joke in there.
Oh, somewhere. I know. You know what? I should pick one up for him.
You should actually.
I'll see him
That'd be
soon,
fantastic.
yeah.
Okay, enough. We've gone on too long with the non-hockey
Canucks
talk.
Conversation. Figure it out, Quads. Let's go.
Yeah, Canucks Conversation. Okay, we're here. We're talking about tanking. Do you want to start with the lottery simulator before I get into some stuff here? Because I had a few thoughts on a few things.
No, I think we should.
You want me to give my thoughts on this?
Yep.
Okay. Been discussed a lot in the past 24 hours. We didn't really touch on yesterday's show.
Got the audio, by the way. You didn't do any prep. Got the audio whenever you want.
Got the audio, yeah. Alex, let's hear the audio. Jim Rutherford talking about accidentally tanking. Obviously, he's making a joke, and I'm going to talk about how I think this is so stupid that some people are like, I know it's a joke, but I'm really mad about this. So let's just hear it. Jim Rutherford talking about tanking.
I thought we were tanking. We're pretty close to the bottom. But I would never, running a team, go and tell the coach or the players, don't play hard for this game. They have a job to do, to come to work every game and try to win that game. You want to ask a question?
Well, but your decisions in terms of organizational moves you're making, how you set up the roster, that's a different story.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Okay. And so as we go into the second half, we can make different decisions as how we go about doing our business. I don't view that as tanking. The players have to play hard. The coach has to coach to win. But we also have to make decisions on where we're going in the future.
I have some thoughts too. You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Obviously, like nobody's ever going to come out and say they're tanking. Like, did the Buffalo Sabres say they were tanking?
No.
They didn't say they were tanking that year. They were going for Connor McDavid. Never ended up even getting him. Don't get me started with the whole Edmonton thing. Those oily boys over there, the witchcraft that they pull off in that city of Edmonton. I don't know how they got all those beaches over there, but nobody's going to come out and say they're tanking. But it's like Jim Rutherford said, like it feels like they are, right? Like a lot of the things that have happened on the ice have looked like tanking. Giving up the second most goals against per game, that feels like tanking. They're obviously scoring a lot and producing a lot, but now you have an opportunity to move into, listen, they're never going to call it tanking. It's just like what Jim Rutherford says. He's never going to tell his players to lose. He's never going to say that they're tanking.
It's not tanking.
But trading Bo Horvat,
there you go,
tanks your chances of winning games. Trading Luke Shen tanks your chances of winning games.
Unbelievably so, almost.
A little bit. But, trading Andrei Kuzmenko and his, 17 goals, whatever he's at now.
We got to get to that, too. That's an odds and end thing.
That tanks. Yeah, no odds and ends on the report today. That tanks your chance of winning. So it's not like you're taking the organization of the team and saying we're all going tanking, but certain things that you're doing are tanking the chance to win games. So that's what I look at it as. And I think those moves can be accomplished this season with how you look at the trade market, the pending UFAs, the guys who aren't going to be here for a long time. Absolutely, you can tank.
Okay, so
they won't say it though.
Here is my thought. I'm driving home today, or driving this morning around, and I'm listening to the Jeff Merrick show. Okay, and Merrick and Friedman are talking about this tanking quote from Jim Rutherford, and they were like, "This is is this a shot at Bruce Boudreau and the players? Like that's not nice," type thing. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, as somebody who's around here every day, I was like, cry me a freaking river, like world's smallest violin type thing, right?" And I was like, these guys are so out to lunch. What are they even talking about? Okay, now I thought about it a little more, and I'm expecting people to have the same reaction that I just described to what they were saying to what I'm about to say, because I thought about this a little more. And, basically what they were saying was, is him saying, "Oh, we're accidentally tanking," like, is that, a shot at the players, that an unfair shot at Bruce? And I was like, okay, like,
and by the way, as he said that quote, there was like a little smirk there, like,
yeah, exactly. He's
made
joking.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I thought the question that was asked was talking about, was actually Farhan setting up a question to ask about Demko being held out longer. Yes. Which was also an interesting answer. We don't have the audio for that, but it was.
But let's get to it after.
Sorry.
About tanking, right? They were like, okay, well, obviously it's a joke, but it's a joke at your players and coaches' expense. Are they going to get upset about it type thing? And I was like, world's smallest violin. Now, I understand people are probably going to have the same reaction to what I'm about to say. And what I'm about to say is I thought about it a little longer. And what I kept thinking about is like, okay, if he says that quote after a 6-2 loss at home to the New York Islanders or whatever it was, when they just looked so listless, they legitimately looked like they weren't trying, looked like they didn't care. I'm sorry, but this past road trip where they didn't get many results, they got one win. You can't fault this team's effort on that road trip. Like, every loss that they had on that road trip, for the most part, came down to roster construction. It came down to them just not being good enough to hang with the top teams. Like, that's what it came down to. And look, if I'm a player, and again, world's smallest violin, I understand these guys get paid millions of dollars. I understand people aren't going to like this take. I get it. But if I'm a player, I'm thinking, screw you, man. Like, I was like, I just put in effort on this road trip. If I'm Elias Pettersson, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I'm trying every game. The guys around, and maybe Elias Pettersson's a bad example because I know there's all that stuff about, oh, does he want to stay? Does he not want to? I'm not going to get into that. Any player, for example, let's use, I don't know, Ethan Bear. Okay, we put in a really good effort, and you're talking about, aren't we tanking? Like, our team sucks, but does that come across as Jim Rutherford looking inward and saying our team sucks because of how it's constructed, or aren't we tanking because our players aren't trying hard enough, or our players and coaches aren't good enough? Like, I think and not to contradict myself immediately, but in the context of what he was saying in the rest of the press conference, he took a lot of ownership for the roster. He did say we can't move contracts that we'd like to move, but also goes to that point. If you're one of those players hearing that, where you hear our core isn't the problem, it's the players around them. If you're a player around them, you're probably thinking like, you know what? Why am I even trying for this organization right now? Like maybe I will just go mail it in, like we saw at various points this year. Like I'm curious how. And again, I'm not trying to blow this into a thing that's bigger than it is because I hate when people do that. But I am curious if any players were legitimately rubbed the wrong way by yesterday's press conference.
I'll tell you what, a lot of the players who think they're going to be here long term, like you hope Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes has a long contract. JT Miller has a long contract. I think that they maybe can have the long game view of some of the stuff that Jim Rutherford said, but you're right. Like Ethan Bear needs a contract after this season. I don't think that yesterday's press conference makes him more excited about it, about the next year or two. Like, it's not like Ethan Bear is signing a 5-year deal, as much as I think that's a player they should do that on. But yeah, it's a difficult spot to be in. The tanking thing's interesting for me because you bring up an interesting point about, like, yeah, that's not going to. I don't think it's going to piss the players off because they're clearly aware of where this team's at.
Yep.
Right. They're not going to say it. That's just kind of the dance that they have to take with media, where they're not going to say like we're not going to make the playoffs. But if you had true serum, do you think that every player in that room is like, we still got a chance to make the playoffs, man? Just got to have a good second half, man. We can catch all these teams. I don't think so. Like I think these players know what's going on with this season. And that press conference yesterday, does it help the thought of tanking more for these players? Maybe. Like maybe it puts them more into that camp. And the comments from Jim Rutherford absolutely cement.
I want to get to a couple comments in the YouTube live chat here.
Sure.
Jeff Rowe jumping into the chat and saying, if he isn't telling them not to play hard, he may as well have done it after yesterday. Corey Anderson jumped in the chat, said, no way, Quads. They lost those games straight up because their PK sucks. That's fair, but the PK is still put together by the general manager and the president, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to say that their PK is hitting way below what we thought they'd be. I mean, somebody's got to be the worst PK in the league, right?
Sure.
Didn't think it'd be the Canucks, but also, Thatcher Demko's not here. The goaltending hasn't been fantastic. Like, it hasn't been bailing them out. And again, the thing that we keep coming back to is just everything we've seen this year seems like it could be solved by Thatcher Demko being unbelievable like he was last year.
Yeah, I see Corey in here saying like saying that the whole roster doesn't suck. The whole roster doesn't suck when things are going the Canucks way, right? But as soon as one of those like pillars of what this team has to have success breaks, which multiple ones have this season, where special teams, obviously the penalty kill is letting them down again this year. And it is like Corey's got a point that yes, it is historically bad. That's for sure. That's a big thing that's costing this team. You could hear JT Miller talk about it yet last year. I remember at the end of the season talking about, hey, like, they would have probably been in a playoff spot if they're a top 5 penalty kill last year. For sure. Like they would have been a playoff team last year if they weren't historically bad like they were last year.
But they're not.
One of those other pillars this year that's missing is the number 1 in the NHL at 5-on-5 goaltending. They don't have that this season.
Yeah.
When you don't have all the pillars that, have to align for this Canucks team to be good, you start to see a lot of the cracks and the flaws in this team. And that's kind of what we're seeing a lot more of this year, where they're scoring goals. Like, right? They're a talented offensive team. I still think that if you were to just put them up against a lot of different forward groups in the NHL, and you're just like, if you just made the playoffs off of what your forwards can do offensively, the Canucks are a playoff team. Absolutely, in my eyes. They're absolutely a playoff team, but that's not how the NHL works. And this team has to rely on so many other things going their way to be good, that those things that aren't being good for this team right now and helping them step up, it's tough. It's really tough to see. And I mean, what's a new coach going to do to this group? Change some things around for sure. I'm a little worried about what a coaching.
They're going to get the dead cat bounce.
Yeah.
The other point of what I wanted to say about on tanking before we move on to the Atlas Goods poll question here is that this team, and we heard the word retool, and I know it pissed a lot of people off yesterday. We talked about it on yesterday's show. Good little chat we had about it.
Oh, great question from that guy too.
Retool versus rebuild, right? And it feels like if this team wants to retool, which they do, they can tank this year. Like they can offload the things at the deadline, because I understand looking at this year as a dud, but I don't understand not just offloading what you have here, because what that is here is part of your retool. Like, is Connor Garland part of a retool? And I know Connor Garland's probably one of the players he's talking about when he says we can't move these contracts.
Yeah, actually, I had a point that I wanted to bring up, and it's great that you brought that up because it helps me ask this question. Who's here in 4 years of this team that's right now this roster? Which players are here in 4 years?
OEL's cap hit in some form.
Yeah. Okay.
JT Miller.
So JT Miller. Let's count how many there will be.
Okay.
JT Miller.
Yeah. OEL.
His money. Let's talk about the money of the contract.
Yeah. Elias Pettersson. Quinn Hughes will still be on his contract. Yeah.
Is Thatcher Demko still here in 4 years?
I don't know, Chris. He's going to expire in 3.
Is Vasily Podkolzin still here?
I
would say so.
You would hope, yeah.
I would say 5 there. Is Huglander here? I'd be pretty surprised if Huglander's here still.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll find that. So we got 5. Anybody else in the chat, let us know if we're missing someone here. I got 5 players that I think will be here.
Like maybe Ethan Bear as a third pairing guy. Like maybe. Very strongly maybe. You're illustrating the point very, very well, though, that there's no need to clutch at your pearls as you are on the Titanic going down.
So if
right?
if you're 4 years away and I see 5 players, am I a better chance to me is like, you have a better chance of seeing Lekkerimaki on this roster than Ethan Bear, in my eyes, in 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Bold.
like that. But what I'm saying with this current roster and the players that you have and how the cap's being affected, 5 players from 4 years will be, I think, on this roster. You can feel pretty good about them being here. That like sets you up to really walk into a rebuild then, because you can deal with 5 players.
But
you can rebuild around and not change 5 players.
So it doesn't matter what the word is, though. I know,
I don't want to do this again with you because you're wrong. I'm right. The retool thing that you want.
A retool, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If you're building around 5 players, one of whom is JT Miller, how is that not a retool?
That part,
look, Jim Benning's retool ultimately failed, and this is really dumbing it down. It has a lot to do with the players they targeted. Lindenvey trades don't help, all that sort of stuff. Sven Berchi, I'm not going to get into it, but they built that team. They retooled that team around the Sedins and then Bo Horvat and Brock Besser. I like, and this is no disrespect to the Sedins. It is a little bit of disrespect to Horvat and Besser. The caliber of player with Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes, the 2 guys that we would actually like to see them rebuild, retool. I don't give a crap what you say around. I'm much happier with that foundation because what do we keep talking about, Chris? We keep talking about we're trying to retool a house that has no foundation, right? Mm-hmm. If you actually have a disciplined retool I'm not going to say retool or rebuild anymore, okay? I'm not going to say either word. If you have disciplined roster construction based around offloading what's not working here and making some tough decisions, which Rutherford said he's going to have to do, to shape your team around Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes, I don't care what you call that. That's what this team should be doing.
Yeah.
And I don't even think fans that are saying, I just want to rebuild. I don't even think a lot of those fans are saying, I wish they would trade Pettersson and Hughes for picks.
No, and here's the problem that I think the retool rebuild thing that we've heard, and it's because this is how Jim Rutherford has said it, is I don't think fans want to see the 2-year fix when they can have the 4-year fix, right? And to hear from the president say that what we want to do is target these younger NHL players. The quote about guys not working out on their ELCs, that's not what you want to have as your high-end target.
You're right.
Okay, so that's kind of like, I know we've been arguing, and I see Kevin in there saying the semantics don't really matter. That's right. The retool versus rebuild thing, you're right. It is just a word like Jeffro said. But to me, the way that I look at retool is what Jim Rutherford is saying. He's saying they want to do a retool. He says they don't want to do a rebuild. He says he wants to do a retool. He says they want to bring in these players that are in the NHL.
Yes.
Says they want to give second opportunities to these guys. Sure. But I don't think that's where, like, I don't think you should have to give up these players of value like a Horvat, like a Shen, like a Kuzmenko to get those type of players. You can find those type of players. Anthony Duclair was like,
Ethan Bear cost him a 5th-round pick.
Exactly. So, like, sure, you can do that, but I still think the focus here should be getting the high-end players. Find yourself another Elias Pettersson at 5th overall. Find yourself another Quinn Hughes at 8th overall. Get the draft picks where even if the Canucks finish in the mushy middle at like 13, maybe if they have extra first, they can trade from 13 down to 7. And hey, there's that right D we've been looking for. There's that guy that's going to be helping this team at the high end where you can fill in with the retool after, but as a base, you really need to target those type of players first in my eyes. Still.
The thing I keep coming back to, Chris, and the reason I want them to trade for picks, the reason I want them to tank this season, like make some moves where you were trading for picks, and we'll get to the Kuzmenko stuff later. The reason I want to see them make these moves, Chris, is because the last time this happened, the last time they accidentally tanked, and I keep bringing it up, 2016-17 season. Look it up, folks. They made some deals at the deadline that were clear tanking moves. They moved on from Yannick Hansen. They moved on from Alex Burrows for future assets, okay? One of those ended up turning into Linus Karlsson. One of them was Nikolai Goldobin. Young players, kind of the same thing as Rutherford. Say what you will about who they chose to target, all that sort of stuff. It's not the point. The point is they made those moves, made their team worse than it already was, tanked their positioning in the standings, finished with the second worst record. Only team worse than them was the Colorado Avalanche, and I don't have to tell you what they've done in the years since. What does it get them, Chris? They fall in the draft lottery to a spot that if they finish second worst this year, they legitimately couldn't fall to under the new rules. You can't fall out of the top three if you're the first worst team or whatever, right?
Yep.
They fall to fifth overall. Who do they select? Elias Pettersson. This guy that we're talking about, hey, you know what? A retool might actually work because they can actually build around this guy. He is someone worth building around, as is Quinn Hughes. And sure, maybe they didn't tank in the Quinn Hughes year, per se, right? They were just bad, which, you know, that's a lot of the Jim Benning era Canucks. But the 1 year, keep in mind, Trevor Linden still worked with the organization at that time. Not reporting anything, just something I'm interested that I was when I was looking back at this. Trevor Linden is still with the team in 2016-17. They make those rebuilding moves, whatever you want to call them. I don't care. They make those moves for future assets. They tank their team in the process, and it gets them Elias Pettersson.
I like having it. I had to have a chuckle there because as you're going on your big rant, and what does a fifth overall pick get you? I just see Sonny's comment in there. Oli Ulevi. So great, excellently timed comment there.
Yeah, and then Sonny even said, "Imagine they took Kachuk that year."
Let's not go down that.
Look what Kachuk just went for.
No.
Anyways, okay, we're done. We're done talking about tanking. Okay, let's move on. We're moving on to the poll question. The
poll
Atlas
question.
Goods poll question. You want to do it or you want me to?
You can do it.
Yeah?
I got the answers to it. You don't have any of the answers. You can just do the question up in here. Or no, let's do a quick let's tankathon while we get all set here.
Let's run tankathon.
Because just for fun. Alex, if you got some jazz, and I know you do over there, Alex, go ahead and give me a little jazz here before this, because I like to set the mood. I got my turtleneck on today. Give it a second to breathe. Here we go. Vancouver Canucks, 6.5% chance of getting the first overall pick. And they slide down to 8th. All right.
So that's why you gotta keep tanking. You gotta keep tanking. You have to keep losing games. Like, I'm not saying go tell your players to lose games, okay? As someone already pointed out, it's kind of what you did yesterday. But make your team worse and make it better in the long run. Like, I don't care if you use the word rebuild. I don't care if you say retool. I'm going to criticize the moves that you make and the moves that you don't make. I'm not here to argue about rebuilds versus retool, and nobody in this market should be. And that's dominated the discourse in the past 24 hours. Get a grip. I'm done.
Okay. I'll leave it there because I could. We'll talk about this more in the other days when we start to see some moves happen. I'm gonna come at you here, Quads, because you're wrong. All right, poll question. Let's do it.
All right, our poll question brought to you by the great folks at Atlas Goods. Go to atlasgds.com. Use promo code CC15 for 15% off your first order.
15% off.
Pop rinds. These are the best fresh pork rinds straight from your microwave or air fryer.
Zero
they
carb.
Are the perfect zero carb snack. Are you just gonna yell out different parts of
what's those people in the songs where they throw things, they just yell in the background? Like 2 Chainz always has it in his song.
DMX has a lot of
2
those.
Chainz.
I listen to a lot of DMX while I work out. That's my workout playlist. Back to it.
I'm a Taylor Swift guy in the gym.
Locally owned and operated Atlas Goods.
Enchanted.
Go check them out. Our poll question
15.
today. It is an AHL themed question, so you know who
Look
wrote
What
it,
You
folks.
Made Me Do. Those are all good songs.
Who will play the most NHL games next season? Linus Karlsson, Danila Klimovich, Jack Rathbone, and as always, I'm angry so far as we wait for Alex to vote here. So far, Chris.
You know what's funny about Alex being with this show? I bet Alex is in the top 100 of the world for knowing about Canucks prospects just from doing this show and having the prospects report. Like, I bet Alex is one of the brightest 100 minds to talk about the Vancouver Canucks prospect pool because he produces this show. Doesn't have to watch anything. Or maybe he doesn't pay attention when we're talking. I think he does because he gets the clips up quick. Let's see where Alex goes here. Who plays the most NHL games next season for the or it doesn't have to be the Vancouver Canucks, actually. That's what I kind of wanted to put up.
Interesting.
That's what I was going to ask if it had to be. I don't see anything here with the Vancouver Canucks having to be part of this. So.
Nope.
That was part
Who plays the most NHL games next season?
Oh,
Danil Klimovich. So that's who Alex went with. The popular vote so far, Chris, 36% of people say Linus Karlsson. Remember, he had some reps with Elias Pettersson at training camp there.
Good
Maybe
point.
Lane Peterson's treatment this year will be what, and I'm not saying they mistreated him, I'm saying getting called up when you're tearing up the league in scoring.
Right.
To go play on Elias Pettersson's wing. Linus Karlsson might be that guy. And I know they got Podkolzin and Höglander down there, but hey, this is why you tank. This is why you sell off assets. This is why you make these deals so that you can get these guys in the lineup. Anyways, Linus Karlsson, Danil Klimovich, Jack Rathbone, and as always, I'm angry. I'm angry, which I'm assuming people use as the none of the above option. 31%. 21% say Jack Rathbone, 12% say Danil Klimovich. I want to get some replies here.
Do it, yeah. Have at it.
Andy replied and said, "Can I vote 0 for all of them?" Puck, what you heard, said none of the above. And Sam Huge said Rathbone, but not with the Canucks. And the plumber said Wolanin. Christian Wolanin getting some love.
Right.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about poll questions, it's like, here are your options, and then people just reply, here's the actual answer. It's like,
well, those are all really good submissions, I would say.
I think so too. I just love that in the polls. The I'm angry crowd is out, and not surprising, actually. Linus Karlsson's an interesting one. He'd be my vote for the most NHL games next season. I think that he could be in the NHL right now getting a chance that, Lane Peterson's getting, that Will Lockwood's getting. But I do think that they want to use him the way that, the Alvin and Rutherford crew use their players in the AHL in Pittsburgh, right? They want Linus Karlsson to not only get comfortable in North America, but get confident in North America. And the way that he scored that goal between the legs a couple of about a week or so ago with the Swedish House Mafia line, that line together there, that was confidence there. That was really good. That was awesome to see. He's also shooting the puck a ton, almost 3 shots a game right now in the AHL. And you could hear the players talk about it. Vasily Podkolzin mentioned it in the interview that I had with him after the game. All he said, like, when I asked him about the goal, he's like, yeah, that's NHL. That's what he said about Linus Karlsson. And Karlsson has some work to do with his foot speed. I love that he's out there right now with Mackenzie Braid, one of, I think, the best skating coaches in the world, in Mackenzie Braid. Specifically, having that in your AHL system is huge. So having Karlsson down there is good. He's got 28 points in 35 games so far this season. It's a great spot for him to be in. I think it's going to be a great spot for him to continue to develop. I would pick him to play the most NHL games next season because there's probably a door that's going to open for Jack Rathbone to get into the Canucks lineup next season, right? But I don't know what he has to do to stick with this team. If the new coach maybe likes him a little bit. He's also, by the way, update on Rathbone. He's doing a lot better from that injury, from what I heard. Even though it looked really bad, he was stretchered off the ice again on the weekend there. But he's looking, it's looking positive from what the scene was there on, was it Friday night or Saturday night? Saturday, I think. The early returns are that it's very positive from what we saw anyway. So we'll have to see with him. Abbotsford's actually in action tomorrow. We'll talk about that a little bit. But yeah, I'm rocking with Linus Karlsson here. You know what though? Like, I don't know. I don't want to say it, but like Danil Klimovich, man, if he continues to roll for the rest of this season, look out. Look out for some NHL games next year if he continues to roll like he's rolling, man.
Alex knew.
Yeah.
Okay, quickly, I wanted to get this in. Andrei Kuzmenko and the Canucks had a positive meeting. His representation, Dan Milstein, is his agent. Emily Castonguay, Jim Rutherford, and Patrick Alvin, this coming from Rick Dhaliwal, met with Milstein in Florida to talk extension with Andrei Kuzmenko. Dhaliwal said that it's a 2 or 8 year deal that they can basically have their pick of. I'm sure the Canucks will contest that. Yeah.
All right.
I don't know where to go.
Dan
from there,
Milstein. No, I'll take it from here.
Sure.
All right. Dan Milstein's got 4 clients on the Canucks. Can you name the 4 quads?
Danil Klimovich, Ilya Mikheyev, Andrei Kuzmenko,
You won't
and
get the last
Kirill Kudryavtsev.
Actually, then, well, on the Canucks. But yeah, he's one of them too, but you're missing one.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
Did I say
And it's a name you would never guess. He's on the AHL roster.
Okay, tell me.
It's Wyatt Kalynuk.
Oh,
is also a Dan Milstein client.
Wow, must have had the audiobook.
I don't know what happened there. It was a good audiobook.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. And I know this isn't the popular thing, and people are going to be mad in the chat. People are going to be mad listening to the podcast. You got to trade Andrei Kuzmenko, man. You got to trade Andrei Kuzmenko. The return for him is going to be massive. And I, as Canucks fan, should be labile to the chance of moving this team in the right direction and actually adding these draft picks like you could right now with Kuzmenko. I still think that there is a chance he could be one of these rare, very rare types that, yes, he leaves, but yes, he might come back and sign here. The Canucks will be in the market again for him in free agency if he gets there. And he's already shown that he's very comfortable here in this city. So it'll be interesting to see. Here's the thing, Quads. I don't think Andrei Kuzmenko is going to be a 23.9% shooter through this next contract that he signs, whether it be 2 years or 7 years, like Dollywall's talking about. I think he plays the net front as good as, I don't want to say anyone in the NHL, but in the high echelon of the NHL for those tap-ins, he's definitely there. I don't think he's going to be a 24% shooter on that contract, this next contract that's coming up here.
Yep. I don't have anything against Andrei Kuzmenko. I think he's a good player, and I think there's a really good chance. Like, if I was a betting man,
Kevin's got a good comment.
I would bet that Kuzmenko repeats what he did this year. Like, I think Kuzmenko is capable of repeating this.
Sure.
There is no guarantee that will be the case, and this team can't be taking any sort of risks like this. The payoff of signing Andrei Kuzmenko is not worth the risk for the Canucks, is what it basically is what it boils down to for me. Is it's just, there's not much risk, but there's more risk than there is trading him for assets.
I know there's no risk for trading him for assets because you got him for free. It's exactly what Kevin said. You gave up nothing to get him, and you can flip him for the sun and the moon. You could get such a good, like, you're getting a first plus, folks. You're getting a first plus for Andrei Kuzmenko. He's making no money. He's scoring a ton of goals. So many teams would be after him. And Commander Vanderberg is a good point. Love Kuzmenko, but I'll love the first round pick more.
And again, like,
and more,
folks, you don't have to say, okay, well, it's a first round pick. Well, that's not going to help the Canucks for 4 years. We talked about it a lot on yesterday's show. I used the Habs as an example where they traded for Kirby Dach after one disciplined deadline. One disciplined deadline of rebuilding moves, retooling. I don't care. Whatever building sort of moves it was. Future intended moves. And then they moved in, got Dach, and now Dach's got career high in points already this season. Okay. On the topic of Kuzmenko, Elliot Friedman wrote in his 32 Thoughts column yesterday that other teams around the league have indicated they'd love Kuzmenko as a rental. The Canucks have made it clear to those teams that they intend to keep the winger. So we'll have to just follow along with this. We'll have to see what happens. Mm-hmm. I think both of us have made it clear that we'd like to see him traded for some assets. Okay. Prospects report. Go.
You know, selfishly, would love to deal with him in the media.
Yep, for the next he's amazing. He's amazing to deal with, and hey, he's fun to watch. Like,
and he's you don't see this often, but I noticed the other day on the Instagram there, same outfit back-to-back days.
Might have been.
Is that a faux pas?
Might have been
when you're making that type of money. Well, he's not making that type of money actually, so I guess you can wear the same outfit back-to-back days.
Okay, go prospects. Let's go.
Oh man, okay, get me on a roll here. Hold on. Let me get a sip in here because I'm about to go on a run. All right. Philip Johansson, he scored a goal in Champions League today. He's got 5 goals in 13 CHL games. That's Champions Hockey League. The right shot defenseman. He's coming over here, probably playing Abbotsford, maybe at the end of the season. We'll see what happens with that. Quads, guess who leads all of Champions League in goals this year?
I don't know, Chris.
Here's the answer. He follows you on Twitter. Zach Boychuk. Zach Boychuk. You didn't think you'd hear that name today. He leads Champions League in goals, which is wild today. I didn't know the dude was still playing. I thought he was just tweeting and following every single person. Follows 680,000 people on Twitter. and you are one of them.
Okay, let's go.
Elias Pettersson, Jonathan Lekkerimaki, they were sent down to the J20 teams on the weekend. Lekkerimaki had 2 goals and 3 assists in those 2 J20 games. We got the clip. We don't normally do this. I sent it over to Alex. Hopefully, I don't know how this is going to work out. Let's get to the Lekkerimaki J20 goal, the first one here, because he got an opportunity to go down to the J20 leagues. I reached out to GM. I'm going to get some more clarity, hopefully, later today. He probably text me during the show here, but we'll see. The Lekkerimaki goal, we can get it up here, Alex. But anyways, he got 2 goals and 3 assists in those 2 games, was absolutely ripping it up. Really good to see him get an opportunity in the J20 league, but I also wonder, I think this is a positive storyline in my eyes, because I think this could get him to the Vancouver Giants next season. If he sticks here in the J20 league and he's not playing in Allsvenskan, I think the Canucks, I think he would. I think there's a lot of different things that could really get him playing with the Vancouver Giants next year in the WHL, and that would be awesome. Be awesome for us to follow. It would be awesome for him to get an opportunity to work with some guys like Daniel and Henrik Sedin, work with the skating coach out there in Abbotsford, everything. Have him around the organization. Lekkerimaki getting to the Vancouver Giants is a great situation in my eyes, because the things that I thought were going to happen this year in Allsvenskan are not. So he needs to take a step to this league, build some of the confidence, get back to scoring like he is in the J20 league here. And this second goal, this is beautiful. Like, this is the shot you want to see. And he'd be doing this. He'd be doing this in the dub. He'd be doing this down the road, not even as far as Abbotsford. So I think that'd be great. That step towards the WHL also gets him closer to the AHL in my eyes. And that's a good spot where you want to be with Lekkerimaki. He's currently on the frozen list of imports. A CHL team can only have 2 of these on their roster. The Giants currently have 2, so they couldn't just like add them right now. They can't do that. But with their players moving on from their current list, you can always have 2 imports on your roster at the time. That's how I understand it. Lekkerimaki currently on that frozen list of imports. Let's get to Klimovich. 16 points in his last 19 AHL games, 7 goals, 9 assists. Good stuff from Klimovich. Jacob Truscott, I think he might be going pro after the season. I bring it up a lot. He had a goal and 2 assists in a big 4-2 win over the rival Ohio State on Saturday. Got a name for you, Quads. NCAA guy to watch. Okay, you listen up. Listen up here.
I'm hearing.
Right shot defenseman. NCAA free agent. Hearing that the Canucks could be interested in this player. Sam Malinsky. Okay, right shot defenseman. You know, he's a good puck mover, good skater, had a heck of a weekend. Canucks saw what he did this weekend, I'll tell you that. 24 years old, right shot guy. He's going pro after this year.
AHL or NHL?
He'll go to the A to start.
Okay.
But he might go in the NHL to start, because the Canucks, who knows what's going to happen with that right? They might give him a shot. He's 24 years old. He's ready for pro. Okay,
let's go.
Sam Malinsky. Check him out. Cornell. He plays with Canucks prospect Jack Malone, too. They know this guy. They've seen him. They know this guy.
Okay.
SHL guy to watch. Interest here as well. Ricard Hug. 23 years old. Linus Karlsson's line mate last season when they were ripping it up there at Skeldrify, however you say it. He's a European free agent this coming season. Watch for him. Another one of these SHL guys that Patrick Alvin's going to chat with, and he's going to tell him, like, blah, blah, we got this opportunity for you. Come over here. Ricard Hug. Watch for him. 23 years old, free agent, having a really good season this year, scoring a lot in Champions League as well. He's almost as much as Boychuk over there. He's scoring a lot of goals in the Champions League. So 2 names for you for the Canucks to have free additions to their pool. These young players that are 26 and under, here you go. There's 2 of them right there. Sam Malinsky, Ricard Hug. 2 guys watch for. NCAA and European free agent.
Okay, are you done?
Betway.
Let's do it. We don't have a counter today, I don't think. Go ahead. Let's get out of here.
All right, here we go. Oh, I did it backwards here. I'm going to start with the bottom. Leon Draisaitl or Jared McCann to score a goal tonight. You know, I love the either ors. Didn't hit yesterday. Also didn't post the bet. Whatever. You saw it on the show yesterday. Good stuff. Betway. Draisaitl or McCann to score a goal in this game. Minus 225. $10 is going to get you $14.44, and you're thinking, oh, where's the value there? Where's the value there? The value is right above it. I don't know. I think the Oilers, I think, are going to win. Kraken are on back-to-backs. They're going to score a lot. Who scores a lot for the Oilers, Quads? This is the easiest question I've ever asked you.
Connor McDavid. And
Jesse Puljujarvi is not even in the lineup, so you don't have him slowing down McDavid anymore. McDavid going to score over 6.5 goals. Oilers to win, plus 300. $10 bet. Return you 40. What do you do with the $40, Quads? You take yourself down to Trader Joe's, or Fred Meyer was the energy drink spot. You pick up about, I don't know how the conversion rate works, but You can get a handful of these.
Okay. 19 plus to play. If you choose to play responsibly. All right, we'll wrap it up there.
Oh, holy moly.
Few people got the word of the day today.
Yeah, it was.
Someone told you to throw out that nerd
screwed
calendar.
It out there. Yeah, get rid of the nerd calendar here. Labile. I don't think I used it right. Normally, if I'm being honest, I type it into the outline and I read a paragraph that I have about a subject. And I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I don't think you used that one right.
This one I should be able to pull off pretty easy, right?
Yeah, you'll get that.
This isn't a word of the day.
No one's even going to get that tomorrow.
No one's even going to notice that one tomorrow.
All right, well, challenge accepted for a lot of our listeners. We'll wrap it up there.
But everybody caught me on this one today. This was a bad one. I struggled to get this one out.
For my co-host, Chris Faber, and our technical producer, Alex Allard, my name is David Gujelli. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Canucks Conversation.
Big fat tacos at Montana's. $5.
Thanks for listening to Canucks Conversation, delivered by DoorDash. Hit the subscribe button to never miss an episode.
How about keep it to a thank you, Jim?